I have here an HT 133. This is a pole saw. As you can see, the end has been snapped off. This would be where it connects over here to the drum and the clutch. Don't know how they did that, but they actually did it on two of them. This will be my second repair on this, on the second pole saw. Be replacing it here with part number 4182-710-3211. You have to make sure that you get the right one. The one with this being the 133, this part actually goes on the 103 and the 133, but this part does not go on, I think it was the 101. But regardless, I'll be sitting here taking this apart. I'm gonna undo these two, pull this off. I'm also going to come down on this end. I'll be taking this off. That way I can get to the drive shaft underneath. Once I get to that point, I will start up the video again. That way you can see it laid out. I have this paper towels lined up because it can get a bit greasy. I shall return. Alright, so I've got the drive shaft is out, taking off the tube from the top. Now on this side, you can't pull it out this way, and that's because there's a piece in here that's locking it in place so that way it doesn't continue to go up. And then you have these pieces here that will not come off because the other end of it actually has that piece right there. So these don't slide off like that. So what you have to do is actually work from the other side. And just make sure the way the springs are set up, you have one spring at the top, then you have that spacer, another spring, spacer, another spring, like that, and put that back in the correct order. From this side, we'll get this tissue, see a little bit better grip. Just push that up through. It comes off. See, now to get this separator right here, which keeps this from sliding further up, there's actually two pieces. You just have to use a little force to separate these two. This will come off, and then at that point the spacers will also come off, and you can get it all in one piece without having to go through the issue of doing any damage to those spacers. Alright, so I'll work on this to get the spacer off, and then we can slide this off, and from there I'll get back to the video. Okay, so the trick I use to actually force those apart, because they're pretty tight, is this fits right in there, has a taper. I just put it there, and then I give it a few taps with the hammer. Once it gets in there, it starts to force these apart, and come on. There we go. Here's the bottom part. There goes the top part right there. And now this will just slide right off. Come out the other side like so. At which point, now I can start sliding off the rest of these items, especially these spacers that I was telling you about. As you can see, the spacer comes right off, and I'll put it back on the same exact way. The other thing you have to remember is that when you when you're putting this back together on the new drive shaft, that you measure this out so it's pretty much in the same area. I guess if you're off by a fraction of an inch, it's not going to break anything, but you definitely want to make sure you're in that spacing. Otherwise, you may not line up directly with the when it connects inside the engine. All right, so I'll continue taking this apart and setting up the other one, and once I'm about to start putting it back together, I'll be back. All right, I now have the drive, the sleeves back on there, the springs. I will I'm gonna just slide this into the tube here. And I've already put a little mark where I need to get up to. So take this piece, get that over here. Take the clamp side, put it up to that mark, and then I'll just squeeze these together. Now to assist me is this. You may have to adjust as you go along, just to make sure you get it there. And like what I was saying earlier, if it's off by a fraction of an inch, not the end of the world. You just keep doing this all the way through until it's squeezed in there. And if you have two of them, like what I'm about to do, I'll get the second one in there. That way this will go a lot quicker. And let's do that. Be right back. Alright. This is now back in place. Take the sleeve, get this back in there. There we go. It's the part that we need, right? That's just going to go inside into the engine. Alright. And at this point, I'll start the reverse process of putting this back together. There is this sleeve that actually goes into the top portion of the pole. This is what provides the extension. There's only one way for this to go, and this would be the bottom portion, which stops here. This would be the top. Since there's, as you can see, this smooth, so it only goes one way. The other one comes out the same exact way. You're just going to push from the top, push it down from here, so that way it comes out of the pole, and then you just put in the new one. All right. As you can see, that right there, the top of this drive shaft down here actually is going to go right there. So when I get this pole over here, put it back in. Let's see if we can see it in the camera. There you go. So it'll go in there, and then I'll continue to push the rest of the drive shaft up in the rest of the drive shaft into there to complete this process. Just remember, like I said, you still have that top spring over there that needs to go in there. This spring right here, so can't forget that. That'll go on the top here when we start to do this process, and we will go from there. Once I get this back together, I'll start up the video again. All right, so this was finally put back together. I guess the biggest things is when you're putting the springs back in there, they may squibble around, but as you continue to push the drive shaft up, the other end will just start to extend out, which is what happened here, because I had this all the way in up to here, but as I put the drive shaft in there, it just started pushing the side out automatically. All right. At this point, I am going to tighten this up. I'm going to put the saw head back on there. Once I put the saw head back on there, I'm going to put a new blade, new chain, new bar, and put the engine on there, and then at that point, see if it worked. All right. Give me a few minutes to put that together, and we'll start up this video once more. Oh, one other thing is that sometimes with the removal of this or the putting this back on, you may need to just give it a few little taps like this. I use this rubber mallet so that way I don't do any damage to that. If you use metal, you might end up breaking that, and just another piece you'll have to replace if that does break. All right, I'll be back. All right, I finally have it put it back together. Put the new bar on it, the new chain. So let's crank her up and let's see if that chain spins. It looks like I need to actually tighten it up a bit, but for all intents and purposes, you know what? Let's see what happens. And the chain is spinning. I guess the big, make sure that it works under the extended, because that'll be the other aspect, right? Make sure that this part of it works. All right. And let's see what happens. For the extended, yep, and we do have a successful installation. All right. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up. Hopefully that helps some people, because the first time I did this, couldn't find anything out there that actually told me all that stuff. So anyway, you all have a great day.